What is going on, y'all? Welcome to the Joel Friday TV podcast. I am Joel Friday. Bienvenido. Welcome to the show. It is Monday, a new week, and we are here about to make it happen. Topics to be covered. Actually, do me a favor before we get into topics. Hit that like button, smack it, lay the smack down on the like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we can get the subscribers up and a message out. Do it now. It's not too late. Topics to be covered. What are we talking about today? How the devil works his little magic. How he knows how to do the thing to the people and to make people believe crazy things and be proud too, not even knowing that we're being deceived. So I want to get into that and some examples about that. I have a clip I want to play as well. So we're just going to get into some stuff. We gon' get into it. Keep in mind, it is also a talk show, so you can call in at any point at 888-775-3773, and we could talk about topic at hand, past shows, whatever you want to get into. We could argue, we could fight, we can fellowship, we can agree. All in the name of Jesus, I'm here for it. So you can call in 888-775-3773. For whatever reason, if you cannot call in, but you still have a question or comment, and you would like me to read it live on air, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV. The link is in the description, and you can send your question or comment there, or just support the show, right? Or go directly to YouTube and hit the super chat button, and you can send your question or comment there as well, and I will read it there, and I'll read it live on air. You know what I'm saying? So you do have those super chat options and all that good stuff. I do try to look at the chat and keep my eyes on the chat a little bit, but sometimes I'm caught up in the message and I can't really catch everybody's messages, so you can send a super chat and all that good stuff. So let's get into some stuff. I was watching, let me make sure I have it set up properly here. I was watching the Fallen State, right? Last week, Jesse Lee Peterson had a Fallen State episode with a polyamorous woman, a polygamist woman, and she's in a polyamorous relationship. There's too many poly words here to remember. And her husband has two wives, her being one of them, and they're looking to have a total of 4, I believe. And I really tuned in because I really wanted to understand the mindset of these people and what made them believe that this was okay. And like, because nobody's intention is to be evil or do evil. And maybe there's like a cynic nature in there, like a cynic part of human beings that, like, I mean, obviously get a thrill from it, but typically in the eyes of their intention, nobody really believes that they're wanting to just do evil for the sake of doing evil. There's some type of, oftentimes, right? There's exceptions to the rule, but oftentimes people believe that they're doing something good, or they've been tricked in such a way to where they believe that they're on the right path. It's a crazy thing. And so I always like to see, like, what was the thing that Satan used to make one person believe something that is just totally not true? Because obviously, if you present something on a silver platter as evil, you're gonna You're not going to take it, right? You're not going to just accept it if you look at the silver platter and it says it has the words evil on it. You're going to reject it, right? But Satan knows that because nobody wants to be evil, typically. But Satan knows that, so he has to like somehow make you believe it's from God or of good in order for you to take it. So it's always I'm always interested to see like what did Satan use that got people to do certain things. So anyway, I was just thinking like, man, like Satan loves to play on our desires as human beings. Like our desires, the things that we're interested in, the things that we want, that our heart craves, our heart desires, right? He loves to play on those things because he knows how attached we are to those things. And a person in a fallen state, meaning like a person who is still asleep, who lives the life of the ego, their whole being, their whole lifestyle is based off of cravings and thrills and emotions and feelings, and Satan loves that because he doesn't have to do so much work to get you to behave the way he wants you to. That's why all human beings have to wake up. Their eyes have to be awake. But with that being said, a man in his fallen state, his biggest weakness is the woman. It's just from Adam and Eve, from the beginning of time, the man's biggest weakness is the woman. When he's in a fallen state, he's subject to the woman because the woman is subject to evil. And the man is subject to the woman, which is the nature of evil, which is evil. That's just how it goes. So, what all Satan has to know is that he knows that, right? So what he did is these people who are in a polyamorous relationship, he knew that, and by the way, for people who don't know, polygamy, who don't know what that is, I'm sure most of you guys know, but polygamy, I guess, is you can marry more than one person under law and under your moral code, I guess, and it be justified based off of your beliefs and acceptable within your culture, within society, or whatever. So that's what polygamy is. Somebody who believes in marrying more than one person. But according to this girl from the fallen state, she said she's Muslim, and she said it's written in the Torah. No, not the Torah. Quran. Right? And in the Quran, it says you can marry more than one person. Now, who is Joel here to say that marrying more than one person is wrong and it's a sin, right? Who's Joel to say that? What gives Joel the authority to say that it's wrong? In my belief, I just don't agree with it. And I'm going to explain what I believe, why I disagree with it. And listen, I'm open for conversation, debate. You know what I mean? I'm open to learn about it, but I just want to give my take on it and what I believe about it. So anyway, in the Quran, it says you can do this. And she references the Quran a lot, but she also had a take on why she believes it is beneficial for a man to have multiple wives within a marriage. And I am going to play a clip from the fallen state. So you're not thinking I'm just making this up or I'm putting words in her mouth. No, I'm not doing that. No. Let me see. Let me go to it real quick. So this here is a woman, a polygamist by the name of Aziza. She's a Muslim, and she was a guest on The Fallen State. Here's what she has to say about polygamy.
A lot of men today, they're married, but they'll have other women. I promote marry them all. Have 2 wives, have 3 wives, have 4 wives, because 1, I follow Islam and God allows this, but 2, men and women have different natures, and men and women are different. So when man is just with one woman his whole life, in a society where sex is sold to him, I tell ladies this. Most ladies that come to me that say, oh, my man cheated, or I broke up with a man because he was not loyal. I try to tell them, okay, look, men are not built the same as us. Even in the Quran, God tells us that men's biggest weakness is women. The man you marry, he's going to be attracted to other women. That's just what happens. You have to be realistic about it. Like, go to Collectively Married, read the books. But when you understand what a man is and what the nature of a woman is, you're not going to feel like, oh, he likes another woman, he doesn't love me. What's better, sending him to go cheat? Which I know a lot of men, like, I've even heard this joke among Christians that I have a wife and a girlfriend, and it's like a common thing. Men are created differently. And I've spoken with men that are married that love their wives, but they still have these urges.
God doesn't say that men should have more than one wife. He should only have one.
Based JLP. I want to know what Hassan and I know Nick is over there as well. I want to know what they think about it real quick, about that clip. I think they've seen it on the phone stand. I'm not sure, but then I'm gonna give you guys my take on the whole situation. What do you guys think, real quick?
Based Aziza.
Wait. We can't see. Unless y'all that black.
Whoa.
No.
That might be the best we could do.
Wait, no. Oh, wait, what's the one with just me and Hassan?
Oh, I don't know if there is one with just you and Hassan.
I think there was.
Yeah.
There was?
No.
Is it this one? Nope. There is no one with just Hassan.
What?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, what I'll do is this. I'll do it like this.
The other day, didn't we?
Oh.
I'll do it like this.
I'm sorry, guys. You can do it.
Yeah, do it on the ATEM.
Oh, no.
Do it on the...
No, we were going back and forth.
Yeah, go on the ATEM and just show you guys.
But I do know how to do it, so don't worry.
Okay.
Anyway, Aziz based.
Hold on, guys. Sorry, guys. We're trying to make it happen. Program.
Boom.
Okay, boom. So, what do you guys think, real quick?
What did you say that Jesse said that was based? That's the only part of the clip I missed. Because you said based after something Jesse said.
He just basically said that God said that you should only have one wife.
Yeah, that sounds pretty based.
Yeah,
I'm messing around with Hassan back here, like based Aziza or whatever her name is. But if you ask me, the polyamory stuff is ego.
Nice. And what you think, Hassan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm joking too about saying she's based, but I mean, I will say, like, I think there is something to be said about resources. Like I said last week, that that's what is also in the Quran. I'm pretty sure it's based off of protection of Go ahead. No. Yeah, just like overall resources, So, and like I said, with the statistics of there's more women than men. And then the amount of men that are, in this homosexual lifestyle and then in jail and just a lot of men who just don't have resources. I do think that there's something to be said about, if you can provide, then it's like,
What's the problem type of thing?
Well, I'm not necessarily advocating for it.
What does
you guys seen that video,
folks?
You guys seen that video of of those Japanese women? It was like a man on the street video of those women in Japan. They were asked, "Hey, if your man went and paid a prostitute, what would you get mad?" And it went super viral because all these Japanese women were saying, "No, I wouldn't get mad. I wouldn't necessarily like it, but he's just paying something to get rid of something, but he's it's still more valuable to keep him because he's providing, he's got the resources." etc.
And also too, if we're just looking at it from a sex thing, then yeah, it's ego and it's debauchery. But there's also business elements to it. You know, there's a reason why people get married in the first place. There, taxes and you can create companies within that. So a lot of these men are creating companies each wife. And they're creating these different things. So again, I mean, you can justify it and come up with these different things, but I'm just saying the pure practical physical stuff. And even in the Old Testament, I know you made a mistake about the Torah, and you're saying the Quran, but even in that, it's said that like if there's, you know, children or women that are, you know, I don't know, you know, sometimes some situations I think could be, you know, you become like the YMCA or like the Boys and Girls Club.
Man, okay, so this is what I'm gonna get to. I'm gonna come back to you guys, but this shot kind of just looks weird. So can you cut to yeah? My bad. And I'm gonna go. And I'll cut back to you. I'll come back. So this is just what I think interesting stuff because they brought up some points too. Hassan brought up some points that made me want to touch on as well. Is that what I think happens with the whole thing is that I think how these things get birthed is because there is a lack of understanding the true meaning of things. And like, for example, what this girl Aziza said in the whole video, she's basically saying like, well, men's nature and women's nature are different. Men's nature is that they're just naturally more sexual human beings and their eye is all these things. And what I think happened is that instead of trying to figure out how to hone in on keeping your sexual proclivities under control or, you know, not be going crazy, instead of learning how to do that, it like one step at a time found its way in a more, according to society, healthier way. So I think that people didn't know at one point, people didn't know like, oh, this must just be me. I just must be just a sexual person. I'm a man and, you know, I love beautiful women and I have a wife, but I still tend to look at other women to still. So maybe this is just me as a man. Maybe I just can't. So maybe what would be wrong if I have multiple wives? But what the mind did, how Satan infiltrated, was he was like, well, you know what? Just have multiple ones. You are just a man. And it's not that you don't have self-control and you're acting animalistic and you don't want to endure, right? Or just figure out what's wrong with just having one woman. Instead of thinking like that, Sam was like, you know what? No, you are a man, and men just do this. So Satan tends to get in there and make you present an opportunity of something else for you to accept that doesn't seem so bad, right? It's kind of like the whole thing that JLP always says about like hatred is hate, but then it gets watered down to anger and resentment. Same kind of thing, right? Polygamy is cheating, in my eyes. It's all coming from the ego. It's the path to cheating. You're able to cheat, and you're able to have a union with more than one woman, which doesn't even, a union is with one and one person. It's no longer a union if it's with more than one person. Then it's not a union. You know what I mean? But anyway, it just created a path to cheat, but you put it under the law of marriage and like, you see how it's just like, it seems like it's just like rearranged and redesigned and into this way to where it seems justifiable. Like, that's okay. At least he's marrying them. You know what I mean? But what really should happen, in my opinion, is the man needs to figure out why he's so wild. Why is he so out of control? What is not allowing him to find why he has to have so many women? Why he can't keep his eyes on just one woman? Why he needs sex that much? But it's like, how come we don't question that part? Like, why don't we just don't like question, like, why do I need sex this much? Now, some will say, well, it's not just about the sex, because the song was mentioning that there's other like reasons why people, like, whether it be business, whether it be like productivity or a certain lifestyle to get things done, right? Like, you can almost look at it like employees type of thing. But I still feel like that's an excuse to me. It still feels like an excuse. You know what I mean? And to me, hold on, because I feel like I hear some, as I said, we were all polygamous in the past. No, but like, think about it. Like, as we're unmarried, we're polygamous, right? As we're unmarried and you're in a fallen state and you're having sex with a bunch of different females, you're doing the same exact thing. But polygamy just has a better name, because when you're in a fallen state and you were having sex with a bunch of women, but you quote unquote had a boyfriend or girlfriend at the time and you were having sex with other people, it was cheating. It was disloyalty. But polygamy now sounds so good and so justifiable to people. So it's like, accept it. This is what Satan does. He finds a way, whatever, he'll throw a bunch of things at you. And then you'll be like, no, that doesn't work. I don't like that. That's evil. But he'll keep throwing stuff at you until you accept one of them. Gay, transgender, all these categories, all these weird things. Caffeine, that's another one. That's another one we accepted as good. It's the same thing. It's the same stuff. What it's doing, it's forcing us to no longer find the true spirit. Because that's what Satan wants us to do. He doesn't want us to get to the true spirit, the true power and energy and light of God. Satan doesn't want us to get there. So he gives us all these substitutions. Because sometimes we get stuck at a roadblock and we're like, man, I tried everything. This is not working. So, you know what? I just like a bunch of women. That's just me. That's just who I am. And now you got a bunch of women but with a bunch of kids, and the kids got different mamas, and they're half brothers and sisters. And it's just anyway. Am I making sense here, y'all? Am I making sense? Hassan says the polygamy word makes it so I don't have to hide my girlfriends from each other. Oh, Nick. Nick said that. Hassan says the woman can only have 1.3 babies a year. 1.3.
Right. So
what is the 0.3?
Because again, a lot of this was pre like tribal, like during war times, you would have to have multiple women in order to reproduce that many children.
Yeah.
So that's why I was just saying, like, yeah, most of it is about sex for a lot of people, but what I was saying
say that last part again. They had to do what?
Okay, so what I was saying is that how in the past we were all polygamous. in order for survival, meaning during war times or tribal times, you would have to have 50 kids per platoon to raise them up, teach them, how to harvest, how to fight, how to go to war. And when you think about how many babies would die at birth, how many wouldn't make it to, come back from whatever war.
Yeah.
So there was a different time period where you had to produce a lot of children, and women can only have 1.3 babies a year. You wouldn't survive. You would have to harvest more than just that per year.
So why couldn't the man? But why couldn't the man at the time just have sex with the one woman and have multiple babies?
Because she can only get pregnant once a year.
Why?
What?
Why could she only get pregnant once a year?
Because
meaning like.
Unless she's Superwoman, she can only have one baby a year.
Okay, I see what you're saying. That's not what I meant, but
yeah,
I get what you're saying.
1.3. That's why I gave the statistic.
Okay, I see. But like, why can't they just do that for 50 years?
Well, because that bandwidth is not. That's like working on internet at like super slow speed. In order to.
But what was the purpose of doing that though? What was the purpose of them having that many babies? Why did they need that many babies?
It was war.
So, but why did they still? It still doesn't answer the question of why they needed to have 50 babies.
Okay, so let's say six of them die at birth. Say another 6 die before whatever happens, right?
Yeah.
You got to take in consideration all these different things at the time. Then you want to at least have. You want to raise a platoon together, so you're teaching them. You're not teaching them all at different times. You got to teach them all at one time, like a class.
Can I clear some confusion?
Yeah, clear.
Hassan's saying that because women because women can't just be popping out babies all the time.
Right.
It's better for men to go around impregnating more women.
In order to,
because you'll just have more babies. But I just don't know where he's getting the stats from. Yeah. I'd like to know where he's getting it from because. As we see society today, as you get more sexual, they're having less babies. And all the greatest societies of the Western monarchies were built on marriage. So I don't know if these old societies you're talking about actually had that much polyamory.
And I also want to know I also want to know like why they had to I don't think that they had to have a bunch of babies. I think that was a man-made thing or a man-forced thing to where they had to even have this amount of babies. Like, who said, we got to have 50 babies? This is war. We got to have 50 babies in this thing. Like, where did that come from? You know what I mean?
Because you need workers, free labor.
See, I think that's man-made stuff, though. I think it's man-made. I think it's man-forced because God doesn't operate in that way. Meaning, like, God operates in a way that what works and what is convenient. And God made it in such a way to where you have the baby, you have your wife, and you can only get married. If God wanted them to have 50 babies, then he would allow the woman to get pregnant a month or a week or whatever the case is, but it was 9 months for the process is. So in order to pop out 50 babies, and it can't be done with a woman doing it for only with one baby a year, then we're working outside of God's plan here at this point. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. I'm not exactly who exactly is saying that where is that in there that it's one woman thing? Is that a Paul thing?
No, I mean, this is what I see and believe to be absolutely true.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, someone got paid at a certain point to create. You had to get a wedding license and certification.
Well, then, but you're not. So you're open to the idea that there's a possibility. It's nothing wrong with it for you.
I'm just saying not from a sexual perspective. I agree with you 100% on the sexual perspective, but as far as a harvesting thing, just like with land, if you're a farmer and if you're growing crops on different pieces of land. It's no different with the seed and with women with reproduction. So I look at it as a survival thing. It's like you need to make as many versions of yourself as possible, and especially during the times, if it called for there to be you needing soldiers, then that's just what needed to happen. But so I don't know. But again, I'm not an advocate or necessarily against it.
So Oh, okay. I
Just
get
the
what you're saying.
logical, practical sense of
Idea.
it.
Well, fair enough. At the end of the day, I just think that people, the devil finds ways for people to make up these excuses. To me, it just seems like ways for people to get what they want and to be in control, and Satan, it all has Satan written all over it for me. Is that, for one, God wouldn't design things the way he designed them, right? If we were supposed to try to figure out a way to cheat the system. You know what I mean? Like, and it's also an excuse for people to be able to do what they want. And that's how I see it. And this man on the fallen state, this woman whose husband has these wives, is not a godly man. And they believe in God. She's a Muslim, and they believe in all that stuff. He's not a godly man, because a godly man doesn't is not subject to his desire for women. A godly man is not subject to his desire for women. If you want more than one woman, come on. And you're having sex with more than one woman, women are too important to you. Whether you say it's because of convenience, whether you say it's because of whatever, right? If you're having sex with multiple women within a marriage and calling it polyamory or whatever it is, you're subject to women. You're already subject to women if you have one wife. But it's not a godly man to have multiple wives and be pleasing multiple wives. You have an issue. You have a problem. And Satan has wrapped it up. And the reason why I say that, just to give you guys even more insight about it, is that what happens is, instead of, like I said, figuring out how to overcome this desire for multiple women, and now you just add multiple women, what you're doing is you're embracing your weakness. You're embracing your weakness. You're accepting it as good. You're accepting your weakness as good, and you will not overcome it because you're accepting it as good. It's a lifestyle now. Now I got multiple women. So Satan got a hold of you. So that's not a godly man. And the women love it too, though, low key. The women love it too because the man is subject to them. Even though he has more than one wife, he's still subject to each of them. And they have control over him. And they're using him. And there is a way to be married properly and be of God, right? It's just rarely seen. But let's not be deceived, people. Let's not be deceived, right? Let's not be deceived. If you are seeking marriage, and you really got to watch Satan, because he plays on all of our minds like this. If you want to get married, and you're seeking to get married, and you're planning to get married, keep in mind, if you're seeking to get married and you're planning to get married and you're wanting to get married, then Satan has put that idea in your mind. That's from Satan. And there's nothing wrong with appreciating marriage and seeing marriage and appreciating that and being like, man, I wouldn't mind being married one day. Like I value family. I value children. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But to seek it and want it is from evil. And I'm going to tell you why. Is because you shouldn't seek or want anything but God's will to be done. So if you're seeking or wanting anything outside of God, it's not with pure intentions. So even with one person, you just want to be in a monogamous relationship till death do you part with one person. If you're seeking it or you want it, it's the same thing. It's a setup. Not that marriage is bad. Not that marriage is wrong. Not that there's not a godly way to go about marriage. Yes, there's a proper way to go about marriage, and it can be till death do you part and great family, raising kids in the light. God is there. That's possible. But Satan knows how to imitate and switch things up and to make you believe that that's what you're after, but it's really set up to serve your ego, your feelings. It's playing God. Homeland Gemstone says, playing God. And that's true. Playing God. So we really got to watch ourselves. And if we get wrapped up in anything, then at least be honest with yourself. I'm wrapped up. I like a bunch of women, and my eye is always after a bunch of women. I tend to get involved with a bunch of women. Cool. Because we're in the process of overcoming, right? But at least be honest about it and say, like, something's going on here. Don't let Satan convince you that that's just who you are. This is just how men are. Because that's how he'll get you to stay a slave to whatever he's using against you. So I have so much other things about that, but I went way too long. Let me get to some calls, and then we'll see what happens. Because dating apps, they got this. Dating apps are being sued right now, and it kind of ties into what I'm talking about, like how Satan just finds ways to get in there and make you identify with things that are really there to set you up. All kinds of stuff going on in the world. But let me get to some calls, and then we'll go from there. Of Aaron C. out of Utah, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on, my brother?
How's it going, Of Aaron C?
Doing all right, doing all right. Hey, I wanted to
Yes.
ask you, again, I'm someone that's relatively new to, like, the Christian faith. What exact, like, Bible verse is it that tells you that you must wait till marriage? Because I looked
for sex?
and I couldn't find it, yeah.
I go based off of, in all honesty, I don't like, I like referencing the Bible, meaning like if it makes sense, but I like to know that I know before I reference the Bible, because I know within what I believe, and I believe that the reason why it's set up that way is because you know that you know that you know that you know, and you can see clear that this is the right person for you. But when you have sex, and it goes for all people, when you have sex, sex always and will always cloud judgment, because sex is attached to the ego. It's the lower nature. So,
Oh, well, that's just you. You know, I'm not as holy as you are, my brother. With me, it really has to, I really need to know if it's in the rules itself. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, then it's game on.
well, then, but you don't want to do it just because a book or a rule says it. You want to know.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, if I could just expound for a second, okay?
Yeah.
You know, I got baptized a couple days ago, okay? And, you know, I really do want to take that covenant serious. However, when it comes to the sex part, that's just a very difficult part for me. And no, it's not just because, you know, I'm like a pervert or something like that.
Right.
You know, it really has to do with, like, I just know for me personally, like, you just feel like so much better, stuff like that. You know, the church that I'm a part of, there's huge issues with, you know, the youngsters having like porn addiction, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I can totally 100% see why.
Yeah.
As a man, when you are having sex on a normal basis, your mind's much clearer. You can think much better. You don't have that thing just kind of, you know, nagging at you, I guess, in the back of your mind. So I believe it's perfectly healthy to, you know, at least every couple of weeks at a minimum to handle that. So unless it's in Scripture flat out saying, "Hey, don't do it," then guess what?
Well, see, that's a great point that you're making. Is that here? The thing is that people have to start learning how to know these things for themselves within what is right and wrong, because the Bible is in our hearts. The Bible wouldn't exist if it didn't come from somebody's spirit first. So we have to learn. What I do and what I focus on and try to continue to grow in is learning how to recognize the spirit within that tells me all things. To me, the reason why I believe sex isn't good before marriage is because based off of things that I've realized from experience and things that just like insights that I see to be true. And with the whole the masturbation thing is that, like, yeah, it's understandable that there's these urges that come up, and instead of being so wild and crazy out in the public, these young people just like do what they do, and it kind of helps like settle the urge, which is understandable. But
yeah, I mean, if you didn't masturbate, that would just be like a form of torture or something.
But not necessarily. But see, that's the thing, is that like there's also a lack of wanting to endure and a lack of wanting to walk the straight path that is happening that's not being honest about. And the unwillingness to wait. Now, it's not like you're just sitting up here and saying like, I don't want to wait because I just don't care. But there's also maybe a lack of understanding why it's important to wait, why waiting is valuable. And in my opinion, and in my advice to it, is that waiting allows you to stay clear. And it's not always easy, right? There may be slip ups here and stuff like that.
Stay clear, but during times of our life that I'm just like, normally sexually active or whatever, spiritually, I'm way calmer. I feel like when I interact with women I'm dating, I'm much more normal. And there's a huge, giant health component as well, not just mentally. But as you know, prostate cancer is one of the predominant cancers that men get in the Western world. And there's only one way to detox that organ. There's only one way, and masturbation does not drain it all. There's only one way to fully detox. So there's a major health component to, as well. Monks have the highest rate of like cancers in that area because they don't.
Then why? Well, let me ask. Well, I understand what you're saying, but let me ask. Then why do you want it to be true? Then why do you want it to be okay to be able to have sex with whoever and not before marriage? Why do you want it?
Because it would just, I feel like it would just make my life so much easier, and I feel like I just don't feel like God would hate me for it. Up until this point, I don't feel like there'd be a strong disdain for it, and
Well, that right there should tell you that if you want it and it matters to you, that means you're attached to it. There's an attachment. We shouldn't have a desire, and if there's a desire there to want it and hope that we're able to do it, then that means there's a false attachment to it.
Because at the same time, I would have to ask God, right? Like, why did He design us this way? Why did He design me this way? Why did He not make it so only when it's time for sexual activity that you get aroused? I mean, as a man, and again, I'm like mid-30s. I mean, in the young 20s, I see these kids that are in their early 20s. Not able, that have to abstain, and it's just I personally could not even imagine.
God didn't, but here's the thing: is that it's a fallen state act. It's all fallen state. It's not it's God made it to where it's justifiable, where it can be done in a healthy way, but it's still ego. It's still not of God. It's still not of life. It doesn't give life. It doesn't bring life. But He made it so we can use it when the time is right. But even deeper than that, walking in the spirit fully without ego, getting rid of the ego completely, is what God has in mind, how people in heaven, I would assume, live. There is no baby making or none of that stuff in heaven. Everybody's just in spirit, walking in love and in peace. It's a fallen state act. It's not from God to have sex or do all these things. It's just a necessary thing that He used in order for out of our fallen state to make babies, but it's not a godly thing.
I don't think he created it just to make babies, because even married Christian couples, after they have enough kids, they're going to be getting it in for fun, right? They're going to be pulling out, so to speak. So
well, also the second reason, I don't know if you see my episode, but I did an episode on this. The second reason is for to help you throughout your process of overcoming your sexual nature, which is the ego completely, is being able to do that with one person in a healthy way. So regardless,
you guys are talking about polygamy with like the ego thing. I'm not even talking about that. I'm not talking about just racking up Kobe Bryant stats here. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that just maintaining like basic. I'm really strictly coming at it like from a health perspective. It's not an ego thing. It's like, oh man,
but that's not real.
I had shorty last night.
No, but it's not like that, man. But that's not real either, though. That whole thing that you're saying about health and all that stuff, that's an excuse that you're believing into that is going, as a matter of fact, it works against. It doesn't help you with your health or make you feel more. That relaxed state is just temporary for one. And
wait a minute. So you're disagreeing with what I was telling you about maintaining prostate health, and that's another region of the body.
Oh, that's
that
a
has
setup.
To be detox, and that's the only way.
That's a setup.
You don't buy none of that. You don't think no. And it's
that's
proven that it raises your testosterone. It's proven that the more a man has sex, his testosterone actually goes up as well, making him more productive in other areas of life and making him more appealing to, you know what I'm saying, the main chick that he might be in pursuit of. So
well,
I don't.
Well, fair enough, but I disagree. I think that's all made up. But here's the thing. Here's my thing. This is the problem too, and this is what helps people in general. Knowing this is that God is not saying, God gives you full permission to do what you want and live your life and to be free. So if Aaron C wants to do that, God's not judging you for it. I know, but listen, let me just make this point, is that God is not judging. We're only judging. We're thinking that God's going to judge us for it, but no, God wants us to keep our eyes open, live life, and be aware of our experiences and just learn from them. So if you want to do those things to find out if you can, or if it's good or if it's bad, do them. Nobody's telling you that you can't do them. And it sounds like kind of like you're wrestling with the idea of like you'll feel like a bad person or all that stuff. God's not, that's from Satan making you believe that that's going to be true. Live your life and experience life, but keep your eyes open, and just, if you're doing it, do it, but just be honest about it. Like, I'm doing it, and this is that. Don't lie to yourself about it and make up all these things and say that it's for health and that it's going to make you feel better and that it's healthy and all these things.
But it does, though. What do you think I'm comparing and contrasting here? There's times in my life, I've already put up Will Chamberlain stats, dog. So there's times in my life where I've done that, and then there's a time like now where I'm in the process of trying to become super holy, like a lot of other people. And yeah, it's difficult, man. I can compare and contrast. I can compare that I felt better then, at least in that regard.
Then why do you need a scripture to prove you otherwise?
Well, because if the scripture says straight up, like, you know what I'm saying, don't.
But if you believe that to be true, then go with what you believe to be true. If you believe it's healthy and you're okay, then you shouldn't be thinking about the scripture.
If there was a scripture that said flat out, you know what I'm saying, he must not process any women until, then hey, it's clearly written. But if it's just speculated, and that's all I've seen when I Googled it yesterday, all I saw was speculation. Hey, this verse might mean this, and this verse tells you to kind of lean towards this way. There's no definitive, all the other commandments, every other guidelines, covenants are definitive. This one is not.
I get it, but you want to know for yourself, man. I got to move the calls, but you want to know. I appreciate you calling in. Like, it's a great conversation too, but you want to know for yourself. You don't need the Bible to tell you and confirm things for you. Yeah, it's nice to know if something's in there so you can like make it make sense, but know for yourself through experience in life.
I just want to be on the right path, man.
Well, you just got to figure it out for yourself. Learn for yourself, and then ask God to show you the truth about it, and then He'll show you. But I appreciate it, man.
All right, man.
I'm just running out of
Yeah,
time.
I appreciate you, man. You be easy.
All right, man. Thank you, Averity. Man, it's just so lines are full. There's a line open, but you know how you guys always do. You always do me like this. You guys will call in last minute, and I'm here tomorrow though, but I'm gonna take another call. But I am here tomorrow, so we can get back into this stuff. But call me ASAP, so I have time to get to you guys. Let me go to Lucas out of, and if you guys want to stay on the line, maybe you can ask Nick the question or whatever the case may be, because Nick is coming in next. Lucas out of California, welcome to the show. You're on air. What's up, Lucas?
Hey, what's up, Joel? How you doing, man?
All is well. I only got a few minutes here, so just be quick.
Yeah, I'll be quick. What do you think about, I was at church yesterday. What do you think about, like, me being with my brother, like, moving in with them, you know, leaving California, living in Texas? What do you think about that? I wanted to talk to you guys after, but I couldn't. I didn't have enough time.
I think that I think that you're unsure of what the right thing is to do. And out of the and it seems like you want to make the right decision, but whether what I say or whether what Jesse says, I don't know what happened. He disconnected. I don't know, man, but know for yourself. If you want to go, then go. And then find out, see if it works. But also, you don't want to, your brothers and all that stuff, they may love you, but you don't want to, they're not going to save you. It's not going to, you know what I mean? Like, if you enjoy being around them and stuff like that, that's cool, visit and stuff like that. But I don't know, it's a tough thing because you want to be able to know these things for yourself. But at the same time, nobody can save you and nobody's going to make you feel better or any of those things. You want to have that within yourself first, and you want to be able to be okay with being alone. You know what I mean? What if you didn't have brothers? Who would you go to next? Would it be a friend who tells you that they love being around you? You want to be able to stand alone. So hopefully, I don't even know if his phone died or what happened. But call me again tomorrow, and we'll get into it more, because there's more to it that I would like to know. I gotta end, y'all. Lord have mercy, that hour is something else. But callers, I can't get to you right now. Call me tomorrow, and we'll get right to it. Call me as soon as the show starts. I do my little announcements, and we'll get right to the topic. But call me sooner so I can get to it. I got to end. American Anchor Baby is coming in right now. You don't want to miss this show. Follow me across the board, Joel Friday TV. And, man, I didn't even get to half the things I wanted to say, but maybe we'll pick up tomorrow. Until next time, y'all. Bye.